So today we're going to dig into a really significant piece of proposed legislation, one that could completely change who gets to buy a house in America. It's called the Homeownership for Main Street America Act, and, well, it takes direct aim at the role of big corporations in the housing market.
And really, this one sentence says it all. This is pulled right from the text of the proposal, and it's basically the entire mission statement. It is the single idea behind a whole new set of rules designed to reshape, the entire landscape of single-family homeownership.
So, to really get how this all works, we're going to break it down into 6 key pieces. First, the new rule itself. Then, the ban on corporate buying. After that, a really crucial list of exceptions. Then there's this ticking clock that comes with some of them, a brand new right for renters, and finally, the penalties that give this whole thing its teeth.
All right, let's start with the big picture. You have to understand, this isn't just some minor tweak to an existing policy. This introduces a completely new, fundamental rule into the American housing market. At its absolute core, the goal here is to shift the balance of power. It's all about trying to put a cap on the ability of large companies to buy up single-family homes. The theory is, of course, that this would make more of them available for regular, individual homebuyers.
Okay, so how does the law actually plan to do that? Well, it all starts with a very direct, very powerful ban.
The central idea is pretty simple. Certain large-scale investors would be flat-out prohibited from purchasing any more single-family homes, period. For a specific type of buyer, it's a full stop on buying more properties. Which, of course, leads to the most important question of all, right? Who exactly are we talking about here? The entire proposal really hinges on how it defines a large institutional investor. And the definition they use is intentionally broad. It's really designed to catch a wide net of corporate structures. Think investment funds, corporations, LLCs, any for-profit business whose model involves single-family rentals. That's the key. They have to be a for-profit company in this specific business. And here's where it gets really specific. The law sets a hard number as the trigger. It's not about how much money a company is worth, it's about how many homes it controls. The moment an entity hits 350 single-family homes, boom, they fall under this definition and that buying ban kicks in. But, and this is a huge but, the ban isn't absolute. The law includes a very detailed, very important list of what it calls accepted purchases. These are specific situations where these big investors can still buy homes. So this first category of exceptions is all about creating more housing. The law basically says, look, if you're building new homes or buying newly built homes to rent out, or taking old, rundown houses and fixing them up, that's okay. The idea is to encourage adding to and improving the country's housing stock. Now, the second set of exceptions, these are all about creating pathways for people to become homeowners. So, an investor can buy a home if it's part of a program that's designed to help the tenant eventually buy it themselves, through something like a rent-to-own contract or by offering financial help. And finally, you've got some carve-outs for what you might call regular business practices. Things like getting a home through a foreclosure or buying a whole portfolio of houses from another big investor. Those are allowed. And so is buying properties inside a designated 55 and older community. But for some of those exceptions we just talked about, specifically the ones for building or renovating homes to rent, there is a major string attached. A ticking clock starts the second that home is purchased. See, this kind of corporate ownership is designed to be temporary. An investor can buy, build, or fix up a house and rent it out for a while, but after 7 years, they have to sell it. And, this is critical, they have to sell it to an individual person, not to another corporation. So that brings us to a really crucial protection for the person who's actually living in one of these homes when that 7-year clock runs out. The law doesn't just throw the house onto the open market, it gives the tenant a serious head start. Here's how it would work. Before that house can be offered to anyone else, the current renter gets the right of first refusal. They get a protected 30-day first look window to decide if they want to make an offer to buy the place. It's only if they say no thanks that the home can then go on the open market for other buyers. So, what happens if one of these big investors just ignores the rules? And what's the long-term plan here? Is this supposed to be forever? Well, the law actually addresses both how it's enforced and how long it's supposed to last. And let me tell you, this proposal has some serious financial teeth. Any large investor caught breaking the buying ban or failing to sell a house by that 7-year deadline faces a penalty of up to $1 million per violation, or 3 times the property's price, whichever is more. These are penalties designed to hurt. And here's maybe one of the most interesting parts.
This law isn't supposed to be permanent. It's actually designed as a 15-year policy experiment. It has these mandatory government studies built right in at the 2-year and 10-year marks to see if it's working, and then after 15 years, the whole thing just goes away. It's automatically repealed.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? What we're looking at is a bold, time-limited attempt to intervene in the housing market. If this were to become law, it could shift billions of dollars in real estate and fundamentally change the path to owning a home for millions of people. The big question is, will this 15-year experiment actually succeed in redefining the American dream?